Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Thank you so much for being with us, Coach Shannon Griffith. How are you, sir?
I'm well, my friend. How are you?
I am just happy. I'm looking forward to. I have a bye this week. I have a bye week. I'm taking a bye week. It's awesome, but I'll be watching plenty of football. But knowing you don't have to spend. You get a whole weekend. I'm like, what? I forgot. I don't even know what to do. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Well, you know how we used to describe the bye weeks at the old faithful Indiana is that we play bye this week and we're 10-point underdogs.
Yeah. Oh, you almost made me spit up my coffee there.
How about that need a little drum in here.
You know what? If I had the old, I had one. It was,
that's right. But
I'm gonna have to get the what do you call that? Drum rim shot.
Yeah.
Keep that rim shot available. I don't have that one. I'm trying to think of it. I don't have anything else that's even funny, but I always love to play funny stuff. But how about that? There we go.
Reggie Miller's looking good. He shoots a three, and it's good. Later, he gets the rebound, passes it to the man, shoots it, and boom goes the dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite, baby. Boom goes the dynamite. That's what I was looking for. That needs to be short.
Good old Family Guy reference.
Yeah. Boom goes the dynamite. That's a nobody but a goodie. But yes, a week without Indiana football, and it's funny to see the fans lamenting. What are we going to do with no football this week? They're juiced. They're jacked. They had a nice crowd up in Evanston, Illinois, as Indiana goes up and takes care of the Wildcats to get to 6-0 bowl eligibility. First team to do that in the country. Alongside now Miami joins them. They are also 6-0. There are several other 5-1 teams, but Indiana has their own destiny in front of them. That's
Absolutely.
just all you can say.
Yep.
Their schedule now lays up. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I'm sorry there. They control everything in front of them, and how they prepare for it, how they, how well they play, effort, all the things that you have in your control, but in the eyesight in front of you, you're 6-0, and everything from this point forward is icing on the cake. I mean, that's the way people can look at it. And these kids are probably looking at it. They want more, because once you get that winning taste in your mouth and what you can get with it and everything that comes with being a winner, you want more of it.
Absolutely. I forgot to mention, don't forget, we're back here at the Hard Truth Studios on this Thursday. And as you look at their schedule, it is, again, set up perfectly, because every game since the Maryland Northwestern, they were similar in different ways, but every game gets more difficult. The next game is Nebraska. It's going to be the toughest team they've played so far this year again.
Probably the best quarterback they will have faced all year, and he's a true freshman. So, I mean, the kid's dynamic.
And a defense that has had 2 weeks to prepare for them, as they are on a bye also. But after Nebraska, you welcome in a Washington team that is coming off of a big win over Michigan. So now they're no slouch themselves. Then you have to travel to Michigan State. Michigan State hasn't been as vaunted as people thought, but I don't care. You're still going to be playing a team in a stadium with 80,000 people in it. That makes a difference. If you don't think so, ask Kalen DeBoer. Then come back, take on a Michigan team that is, they're going to be in a completely no-loss situation where they cannot handle another loss.
How about that? How about that scenario there? I mean, Jack Tuttle, they're at, they're to Jack Tuttle, and they're in terms of a quarterback that gives them both options, run, pass. I think Orji will still be utilized in some form or fashion. But Tuttle was supposed to be the starter all along until he got injured, I think late in the spring or something. And he just fell way behind. So,
yeah, more irony there as Indiana will face a former quarterback in Jack Tuttle. Luckily, they don't have A.J. Barner still. I think he's moved along, I believe. But yeah, and then so after that, you have to travel to Ohio State. So again, everything just keeps elevating. And I almost would say until you get to Purdue, but it's Purdue. So you know what? I'm not going to say something like that. It would.
no.
That would be dangerous. So their schedule will just kind of ramp up each week, but it's perfect. And each week, this team gets more and more confidence with what they're doing. More importantly, I look at these games. People are like, oh, do you think they can do this? Or do you think that? I'm like, well, yes, because first of all, there's not a team on there, maybe save for Ohio State. We'll know more about that this weekend, and we'll talk about that. But that can outscore Indiana. Indiana is going to outscore you. Indiana is going to score. They're a threat to score every time they have the ball. They will score more often than not. Like I pointed out a couple times, 2 empty possessions to open the game last week, and then 7 straight scores. So that is consistency beyond compare.
No, offensively right now, I think what we've got now is a body of evidence for 6 weeks that shows us what Indiana is in terms of their talent level and what they can do, not only offensively, but defensively. And when you got a team that scores this many points and consistently does that, they are a bona fide threatening offense to any defense that's going to go up against them for the rest of the season. Now, one thing I have to check on, and I was doing this the other day, is somehow the majority of the rest of their schedule, it seems that the team that they're playing next has a bye prior to then Indiana playing them.
Explain that again.
It looks as if that for instance, I believe, is Washington on a bye this week or next week against when Indiana plays Nebraska? Their next opponent that Indiana would play, I believe, for the rest of the year, if I'm not mistaken, the vast majority of them have a bye before they play Indiana.
Wow.
Which if that's the case, and again, I got to go through and confirm it. I just saw a couple things that kind of perked my interest there. But if that is true, Indiana should have been raising holy hell with the Big Ten and say, wait a minute, but we're not going to go there yet until we can verify it with absolute certainty. If that's how it falls out. Now, I know that Indiana has a bye prior to playing Michigan, so they've got actually 2 byes this year, which is kind of unusual. But anyway,
you are correct in that Washington plays Iowa this weekend, the October 12th, the weekend that IU has a bye. Next weekend, they do have a bye, as they will be off before traveling to Indiana. So there's Washington.
Well, look at that. So now we've looked at 3 teams, Northwestern, Nebraska, and now Washington having byes before they play Indiana, irregardless that Indiana has a bye this week. I find it highly unusual why 3 teams in a row would have byes before you play them. That doesn't make sense to me in competitive balance. I mean, again, 1 time, okay. 2 times, I'm scratching my head. 3 times? I mean, that's never heard of. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, I think it just happened that way. That's too hard to plan. I don't.
Well, they use all these different scheduling algorithms and stuff. And I'm sure what they look at is Washington, having to travel to the Midwest and things of that nature and trying to give them adequate time to readjust after having done it, playing Iowa. But at the same time, you're giving a competitive edge to your opponent by doing that. And one time, okay, 2 times, what? And 3 times, it's like, wait a minute, how does this figure out? But anyway, like I said,
Michigan State does not have a bye.
Okay.
And not only do they not have a bye, they travel to the Big House. So
yeah, that's right down the road.
Well, it's right down the road, but it's also a butt kicking waiting to
Well,
happen.
right.
Well, not maybe not so much this year, other than it being in the Big House. But
and then I know Indiana has another bye before they play Michigan, which is
it's in between Michigan and Ohio State.
So they have a bye after Michigan. Is that how it is? Okay.
Yes.
I think Ohio State actually has a bye that week too, if I'm not mistaken. But we can talk about that later. But
with Indiana's schedule the way it laid out, there's not a lot that they can complain about. So
no. But I know this. I mean, when you give buys in consecutive weeks to teams prior to playing, like Indiana, for instance, you're essentially allowing a team 2 weeks to prepare. And when you have 2 weeks to prepare, it's tough. It's a tough sled. I mean, that's what Indiana's defense faced this past weekend at Northwestern. They had 2 weeks to prepare for them, and a head coach that kind of understood the structure of the defense from their prior working relationships. And it was an advantage because it was, as we saw, Indiana's defense did not have the game that they're accustomed to having. And it was because of some things that Northwestern was able to exploit by having the extra week. So at the end of the day, that's what that gives them a good chance this week to really hone in and make sure they're doing the right things against certain sets and formations and not tipping their hand too much. But anyway, here we are talking about something that we would never thought we were talking about, bitching about buys and all the things that go with it.
Yep. It will, it's just going to be a fun rest of the year regardless. It's just something that, all right, I need you to figure out the tiebreaker, this tiebreaker system, because I'm telling you, I don't see how the Big Ten does not come into play this season.
It's going to,
because once Oregon plays Ohio State this weekend, by the way, and we need to talk about that game.
Yep.
They have a manageable schedule, and so that's a team that could very easily go 11-1. Penn State plays Ohio State, but also a manageable schedule, also could go 11-1. Indiana could also go 11-1, and then you have Ohio State. Those are the 4 teams, in my opinion, that are going to be vying for the college football playoff berths.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Big Ten get 4 in this year? It depends on how it breaks out. It depends on if we have that many 11-1 teams in the conference. I think that they do. The ACC is very weak. You've got Clemson and Miami. That's it. And
the Big 12 is not great.
And the Big 12, offers not much of anything. So, and the group of 5, I don't know. I don't even know who all's in the group of 5 anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but they have to be ranked in the top 12 to get in that final spot. And then you have Notre Dame that hangs around there as well.
Oh, yeah. I forgot Notre Dame with their automatic bid. That's right. They don't have an automatic bid. It just seems like it.
Yeah, exactly. But you got the Big Ten championship game, of course, as well prior to that. In that regard, which may be playing for essential bye the first week of the college playoffs. The normal tiebreakers head to head. Now, if you don't settle
playoffs, don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Playoffs.
Yeah. Head to head is the trump card. If that doesn't solidify it, sometimes they go to what your record was against the collective teams that you tied. So like if Ohio State beat the other 3 teams head to head,
right, but it's going to be a lot deeper than that. It's going to take some I'm going to have to get some of our math people, maybe get some of the Andy Moore Honda
I'll have to
hotline.
look at it.
Figure that stuff up, but we'll get to
look
that,
at
and
it.
hopefully, maybe we'll have that figured out for the by the post game show next week.
Who cares,
We
right?
get a week off from that as well.
Funny.
Hey, Coach, always a fun time, brother, and we get a weekend off, so looking forward to it, and looking forward to seeing you again next week.
All right, partner. Catch me tonight. Now I'm going to talk a little bit of this NIL and what all is coming down the pipe now that we have a settlement in form with the NIL, and I'm going to solve it and sell it. So I'm going to be rich after tonight.
Go for it. Coach Shannon Griffith joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Ugly Grouper.